just the Devereaux Road property where we're going to build the electric operations center. And we plunked this down just to get some base numbers for costs. Second sheet coming around is a cost estimate. It's fairly conservative. So the vision is that we would create this site, we would provide an access, two accesses actually, and do a one-way through the recycle center.
Is this what we were proposing to build, the new electric building a few
Yes,
years ago?
it
I
is.
thought so.
On the big map, the red dashed line in the middle of the proposed at the center pad is.
Oh, where it says in red, future electrical building.
That would be
Got it.
Yeah.
Thanks for not pointing that out like Matt did a few minutes ago. I'll learn to read before I ask questions, I'm sorry.
So we're proposing pretty basic stuff, either purchasing or leasing a little mobile mini building, basically as a bathroom and an office space for our tenants. We're going to run basic utilities, electric and fiber for the phone as opposed to paying Quest to do the phone, we'll do it over VoIP. We're going to install a holding tank on the wastewater side, extending sewer service for this particular purpose.
Very cost prohibitive.
It's cost prohibitive.
So the septic tank
Is that restroom used by the public or just the employees?
Just the employee, we don't provide public restrooms.
So it's essentially an employee?
It is typically one employee.
Is there any reason why we don't just put in a small
Porta potty?
septic system? I mean,
Because it's illegal in the city.
no, it's not Midland Avenue, has it?
Well, yeah, but it has this.
We're not within 400 feet of a centralized service, but again, I think this use is probably going to be temporary. At some point, we've got to do something with our wastewater collection and our water distribution folks that are on the old wastewater plant site. The plan currently is that we will build a new electric facility on Devereaux and move those two operations into the MOC. And if that changes, that opens up other opportunities. But that's why I say this is a temporary basis. So we're trying to minimize the investment. For whatever reason, when we did the Devereaux Road water line back in '89, we did not drop the service into this parcel. My recollection is the pool said we're never going to develop it, so we didn't drop off the service. There are 3 fire hydrants along the frontage. So we can tap one of those hydrants for the domestic water needs here.
So we don't have to cut the asphalt?
Trying to minimize the cuts on Devereaux. We're going to have to cut it to get electric over.
And I have to ask, I mean, do we need full services like that out there? I mean, could you get away with a porta potty and a walkie-talkie?
This is a year-round operation.
Okay.
So we need some sort of shelter. That weather is not always cooperative.
I'm just asking.
So that's the thought. I mean, it's,
The year-round part, I get.
yeah.
Do you have an operational estimate on the cost of pumping the tank and hauling it to the wastewater plant?
You know, we're doing that internally with our own forces. We can bill back or we can just absorb the cost. It's all in the enterprise fund if you want to look at it in that light. Landfill is the parent of the recycling center. They are an enterprise. The enterprise encompasses the landfill and the utilities, so.
So we have, I didn't realize Norman has, I call them a honey wagon, I don't know what the proper term for it is, but a septic pumper type truck, we have something like that?
Honey wagon?
Okay.
Yeah. There's actually a company in Vail called Honey Wagon. So, somebody with a sense of humor.
Yeah.
That's what we do at the landfill. We don't have a septic system up there. We have a holding tank. We don't have very many employees. We don't have a lot of water use. So that's what we're doing at the landfill. So I don't think this is anything extraordinary.
Okay.
Robin's memo in the packet says that you don't have to vacate your current site until next March. However, just given the timing, you probably don't want to start this next March. You would want to make this change this season, and
Right.
you would ask for some general concepts and general numbers to make the decision about, are we moving, are we not moving, are we going to reinvest in the service or not? So if you could give us some feedback along those lines, we'll act on it.
Well, and it seems to me that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the dirt part of this is beneficial in the long term anyway, because it's an investment that's gonna pave the way for whatever we build there.
We're trying to do whatever we can do for the eventual electric operations center.
Maximize
Whatever
the
we
use
can
of the
benefit
dollar.
from by this exercise, yes,
Yeah.
we're trying to get some synergy there.
Yeah.
The other thing that, it wasn't part of this original discussion, but we recently bid our hauling of recyclables. It went up about 55%. It's gonna almost double from what we paid last year. At some point in time, I think we need to have a conversation about, are we going to continue to provide this service at no cost? Are we gonna continue to provide it at no cost to folks from outside the corporate limits?
Yeah, yeah.
That was, yeah, my next question was exactly that, is I understand in general, the economics of recycling are changing a little bit, and I don't have a clue what they are, how it works, what it costs myself, and so I'd be kind of very interested in getting a report on, this is the state of the industry today, this is what we expect, or I know that you can't predict the future, but this is the trend, I guess, and is this something that, and I think it's a great service, and I'm not trying to say I want to take it away, for the record. But all I'm saying is that at some point, it may be, okay, you can get curbside recycling. We might just need to say, if you want recycling, go to curbside recycling, you know.
Just on a personal basis, though, that curbside recycling for us went up $45 a quarter with this current bill. So, you know, it reflects the same kind of uptake that the city's seeing. So.
I think what you'll find is this stuff is the most volatile commodity out there. I mean, it's going to have a negative value or positive value depending.
So it's not a trend, it's just all over the place.
Yeah, but it follows some major economic trends in the world, because when the world economy is doing well, the demand for recycled materials goes up because everybody's trying to lower their energy costs and what they're doing, and there's money to be made off of it at that collection point. Right now, things are fairly stagnant in a lot of industries worldwide, and so that pushes back down into whether or not it makes sense to recycle materials or not.
Well, one of the other things operative here too is that a lot of landfills are beginning to severely curb the number, the amount of recyclables that they will allow to be entered into the landfill.
Well, it just forces more of this into this stream and it makes them even cheaper, so.
When you talk about you might move to curbside service in the future, I interpret that as saying that this is the appropriate direction for now. That you want Robin to go ahead and start planning this move, because it's a move that would happen in the fall.
I agree, we need to do
I
it.
think given the costs, I don't think it's huge. I think it's a good idea. I think the politics behind this are probably the biggest driver for changes in the future to the program. So I'll have to dig into that at some point, or maybe wait until next April.
Well, I'd be
that.
interested in trying to figure out how we can reduce the costs as far as, limiting to city residents. We are paying for county recycling, so.
Maybe the way to do that is with a fee, and we pay a small fee for city residents, and if you're out of the city, you can still do it, but you're gonna pay,
It's gonna cost you twice
it's
as
gonna
much.
cost you more, yeah.
Yeah.
I see in
Tags and fees.
in the 2016 budget, it says that we've put 135,000 in for the operations. Are there costs above that to wait? I mean, that 135,000 isn't just the bottom line, is it?
It was an estimate based on what we knew at the time the budget was prepared, what, extending our known costs to the end of the year,
Okay.
projecting that. We did not anticipate a 55% jump.
Right.
We anticipated a jump, but it wasn't 55%.
So, of that 135,000 was, I assume that not all of that was the hauling. There's an employee cost in there, there's some other operational costs, I assume. So of that, how much would you estimate went up by the 55%? Do you have any guesstimate?
I think last year our haul costs were around 55,000.
So we're looking at 75, 80,000 this year.
Right.
And where do we, this is a dumb question, but where do we take the recycled material these days? I know that that's changed in the last.
There are two
started.
options, and the haulers, we don't dictate to them where it goes.
Okay.
Whatever market knowledge you have dictates,
Okay,
it's either to the Eagle County landfill or it's to Denver.
okay.
Yeah, when diesel fuel was $4 a gallon, hauling to Denver was really,
Yeah.
on a negative commodity.
Yeah.
So
Okay, that makes sense.
Eagle tells us they are going to continue to operate their facility long-term.
Okay.
That is a political decision, and that can change overnight, so.
Having this center closer to the interstate, does that dramatically impact the cost of moving it, or is it pretty negligible?
You know, our haul costs from School Street down here to the interstate are not significantly
I
different.
think so.
It may encourage external users to use it more.
Yeah.
That's-
In that regard, I would like us to go ahead and move forward. I know it's not pressing, we don't need to see this at the next meeting, but perhaps over the next 2 to 3 months, if we can investigate the idea of charging a fee and looking at the economics and all that kind of stuff, I would really like to see us do that so that we can then, maybe by the time we move it here, do you estimate how long, do you have an estimate as to how long you expect, if you started development of the site today, how long would it take before it's ready?
You know, it's a fairly simple plan. Delivery of, for example, the office, I don't know what the delivery lag time is, but it's something I would like to have it ready to go by late October.
The biggest hurdle right now might be finding somebody to do the dirt work.
No, and we may take the opportunity to do some training in-house and do some of that work ourselves, so.
You have a shovel?
Believe me.
Volunteer for a cat operator right here.
If you've ever seen me operate a backhoe, you don't want to need it.
I've never done it.
It's like an epileptic. Sorry.
The other piece of information I want to pass along is one of the owners of one of the trash hauling companies has given me a presentation. I had him come and meet with Drew, give a presentation, information about the recycling world and how it's changing. And, you know, obviously there are probably some biases in the presentation, but if you guys would like that information, he has told me he was more than willing to come talk to you. So if you want to take that for what it's worth and would like a 15-minute presentation someday, we can arrange that.
I personally don't need to see it. I mean, there's enough online, you know, I kind of read about this stuff all the time.
Okay.
For whatever reason, worry about trash is something I kind of worry about, so. But
The,
if I want to see it, great.
Quick question, up at the landfill, we do metal recycling.
We do all recycling at the landfill, actually.
That's not part of that landfill, I mean, part of this recycling budget, though.
Yes and no. We have haul costs from the landfill. We've got a container up there that you can bring newspaper or
We're not
commingled.
talking about hard steel.
We
There's
collect
a
metal,
steel
we
pile
collect
that-
metal down here and we transport it. We've been just hauling it ourselves to Greenworks and Silt because they're paying a pretty darn good price for scrap metal.
Yeah. So you're charging me by the pound to deliver it to you at the landfill, and then you're actually selling it somewhere else. So I think that would actually be some moneymaker for the city.
It's not a lot of money, but there is a positive revenue there.
See you.
I may not be here for the work session because I'll be cooking hot dogs for about 155th grade.
I'll be your.
Enjoy that.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so, yeah, so you know that 3 o'clock at the, you're not going to do that?
And I won't be.
Robin, I have a question. Is this going to be one-way access?
Yes.
Well, from which direction?
We don't know yet. We're still trying to figure that out. I want to get some of the roll-off drivers out there and get their input. And the configuration that I have on this is very preliminary. It may change. We may need to go deeper. We were going to skew those so they could pull through, back up, pick it up, go out the other way. But I want to make sure that, you know, the decks between the containers and at the school street site get damaged with some frequency. Trying to minimize that.
Yeah.
All right.
You want an update, Mike?
Sure. Thanks, Robin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pardon me, Mike, Todd, Catherine,